He said, what I believe in is that you have to climb inside the skin of the person
Right.
that you're painting or sculpting. And Bruegel makes you do that because he makes you feel how cold that water was when that man was going into that stream. And I thought that was a really important thing,
Yeah.
because that's pretty much the process that we do with you or with anybody else. We try to get under your skin.
Yeah. I
And
felt
you
that.
let us.
Quite literally
It was great.
sometimes.
It was amazing. One of the things also, too, I admired about the process is your patience with the students and your words of wisdom that come out. Like one of the things you said that stuck with me was see more with your eyes, see with your heart, and that really stuck with me. And I think that it also had an effect on the student, because there was a shift in the work. Did you remember that? I mean, it was really a profound moment. Like you actually saw the effect of that statement on the student.
Well, you know, this was a very engaging pose. I mean, it has lots of spillover. It also, has a certain kind of concurrence with the crucifixion, which is a very important symbol and reality to a great many people in this world. And one's got to be affected by that when one's sculpting.
Right. It was amazing because when I came up with the idea, I just wanted to do something original. And marionette, from my dancer's background, I felt really inspired, and the bevel, and but afterwards I was realizing, wow, like this thing is getting interpreted in so many different ways. It was amazing, and it showed in the work at the show, because you could see the inspiration of all the different pieces, because one looks like it was inspired by a crucifixion, and the other one looks like a marionette, and the other one looks like a scarecrow. Because people interpreted it differently, and they focused on different areas of the pose, which is pretty amazing. I want to get into your work, because I know our audience wants to see samples of your work. One of my questions, though, I wanted to ask Barney for our audience is, I noticed that you like to work large scale. Have you always worked large scale, and what was your inspiration, or why?
It seems to be something I was drawn to. I started working with very large chunks of wood, large enough to come off tractor-trailer trucks, and used to load that wood with my mentor. And so the sense of scale and size, I guess, means a lot to me in terms of the significance of the sculpture and making it have an impact.
Yes.
A certain kind of almost threatening quality. There's one piece that I brought down, or an image that I brought down to show you if you want to put it on, of a huge torso I was working on. And that's it over there. And I never finished that piece, but it got to about 4,000 pounds of clay, and it got to about 20 feet long. And I just wanted to be able to do everything I could with a piece of that scale in the space that I had. And I never could back up far enough away to really see it. And eventually I had to go in for some surgery, and I had to abandon the project and abandon the studio.
And what was so you brought some other images too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to take a look at them.
And this one?
And that's something that sort of came out of this, which is called Barney and the Babes.
Barney and the Babes,
yeah.
I love it.
And I did a whole bunch of very beautiful girls, and I put them all together in fairly large scale, with the idea that these were somehow erotic connections, which they weren't. But I even did myself as one of the babes.
That's
so
cool.
it's about 2,000 pounds of clay in that one.
Wow. And then, is there any other images that we're going to see?
To take a look.
Oh,
and you see, then I started to work individual portraits, and that piece is about maybe 800 or 900 pounds of clay. This is a gal who was in my studio, Minnie, who is a wonderful illustrator. And
great face, too.
Yeah, wonderful face.
Yeah. And let's see what else we have.
And this was a fellow who was my landlord for many years, and very, very good to me and my family, named Mark. And I just wanted you to see the work I was doing in the 90s, in the early 90s, which was much more kind of a standard portraiture. And now the portraiture has gotten sort of a little bit off the beaten track.
Yeah. And what else do we have? Is that?
I think you got one of Damien's to take a look at, because you can kind of see where where Damien
Is
picked
this-
up
is
on
this
some
Damien?
things. Yes, it is.
You
I
wanna
think it's
speak
a
about
beautiful
that?
head. Yeah.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit about it. This was under Barney's classes about a year ago, I think last summer, if I remember correctly, Barney. A model named Dave, again, he was very professional, like a rock.
Wow.
And he just always had this look around him that I just tried to capture. And I'll tell you this, Barney didn't cut me any slack on this. This is like the 4th rendition of it.
Wow.
Because I kept doing it, like, you can do that better. So I ripped it down, and I did it again.
Okay.
Ripped it down, do it again. And every time I looked and saw more and more. And that was one thing that Barney was showing me, like, don't compromise.
Right.
Get what
You kept saying that to me too. Yeah.
Again, it was like you can't compromise on these things.
Yeah.
So I didn't stop until it was right.
One of the things about the Art Students League, which makes it quite different from other schools, is that we have no schedule that we want to get people out with degrees. We don't care about that. We care about them getting it done so it's right. And so some models we kept as long as a year, working the same shift you did, 5 nights a week, 3 hours a night. And other times we would do somebody in a day and a half because we wanted to go the fast way. But the idea is that we gear our school to the work that's being turned out, not the other way around.
That's very important. Thank you for saying that too. Yeah, that's what makes the Art Student League the Art Student League. Now, who's this? Is that Pigeon?
Yes, it is.
I love that.
That's a close-up of a life-size piece.
That's amazing. Now, how many weeks did she post for that?
That was about a month.
Yeah.
We
Beautiful.
We had to work quick because we only had a month.
Oh,
but
okay.
the second we saw that pose, something lit up. It was just I felt
Can we
a lot
see
of,
it full scale? Do we have a full scale
Yep,
shot?
that's the next shot.
Let's see a full scale shot. Yeah, gorgeous.
That was that was just something about that lit a fire.
Yeah.
And I had to get it. And I just...
It's for me, it's also evokes fashion and Vogue magazine and glamour, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing, yeah.
I felt, well, again, after talking with her a lot of times, it was actually a lot about trepidation.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
and again, I didn't even know that when I was sculpting it. I just felt something very similar, just very key, and I just tuned in and just went nuts on it. And again, Barney, every time, he was always watchful. Again, Barney has this really funny way of doing things where it'll take you 2 hours, he comes over, knocks it over, and he fixes the problem in 2 minutes.
Right.
And I just did not take my eyes off the model. Again, this is what a lot of training that the Art League offers. Sometimes don't take your eye off the model because you're working with them. You're working with a person. And then you just got to transfer it over as much as you can.
Right. Now, of course, you need to know what the inspiration is from the model striking that pose, as you did with me. What was Pigeon's inspiration for that fabulous pose?
You're gonna have to ask Pigeon.
Oh, she didn't tell you?
I do, but
Okay.
it's her.
That's her inspiration.
Oh, okay.
That's yeah.
I just thought it would be good for our audience to know, like, why she struck that pose or what it, what.
Again, the best I can do is I can get it as much as I can, then add my own elements.
Right.
Every person is different. Like when you struck your pose, I guarantee there's some things that none of us were thinking.
Really?
I mean, again, a lot of us didn't have your dancing background or your experience.
That's true. Yeah.
So we just added and we just kind of like filled in the blanks. I think Barney said that. I remember Barney told me about this one time. He was talking about like when you're sculpting people and you're sculpting yourself. When you're sculpting other people, you see their structure, but you can't see their personality. When you're doing self-portrait, it's the opposite.
Right.
You can know what's inside of you, but you're only looking at yourself in a mirror.
Right.
So you can't. Everything's flattened out, so you can't get everything. So you can only just do what's inside and get that out.
But it's interesting because I felt like in that 9 weeks of posing and conversating and just being in dialogue with you, that we got to know each other really, really well. Like I just felt like I felt like I was leaving a family at the end of it.
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes the Art League so different. I mean, I've been in places where the model and the artist did not interact.
I've been in that place too, exactly. Yeah,
it's just
quite
like,
boring.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're human, we're human.
Exactly.
I mean, if we wanted something other silent, we'd get a freaking mannequin put up there.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
Now, did you bring any other images, or was that?
I think he's got
I think
some
we're going
good
back
ones,
to
yeah.
Barney
Oh
now.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, this actually is Damien's,
Oh,
so why don't you talk
cool.
about a little
Okay.
bit of that
This
one?
was-
It's interesting.
This was also a year ago. I've had this fascination with concrete.
What? That's concrete?
Yes, this was a Again, Barney rubbed off on me a lot. This is a 3-foot concrete head.
Whoa.
Mixed in with some red pigment.
I want to know how much that weighs.
I weighed about 100 pounds.
Oh, okay. That'd be more.
Which is kind of funny because that thing was stolen.
Oh, really? You don't have it?
No, it was going to be installed on this sculpture wall that's in Greenpoint right now, right across from Barney's studio.
Okay.
Again, it was run by a very nice man, but things happened, and then I came by one day and it was no longer there.
Well, that's a sign of a good sculpturist too, if it's that coveted.
I hope so. But the thing about that it's just that Barney. I remember that one day because I had a life-size figure, and Barney's like, I asked him what I should do with it, but I was like, you should do a big head. I'm like, okay. And I just attacked it, and then for something again, that fire just clicked on again.
Was that your first large scale?
No, I've done before, but this is the first one actually came together.
Yeah.
Because something just clicked, and I went after it like a dog with a piece of meat, and I actually hired the model. Again, a lovely model by the name of Stephanie. Mm-hmm. I hired her back with and I'm like I said,
yeah.
I'm
it
just
definitely shows in the work. Yeah, yeah.
Again, it was that whole thing, like Barney says, you just want to get that thing.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have here.
There you go.
What is this?
Oh, that's some of my metal work.
Yeah. I'm glad you got that in because I wanted our audience to see. Yeah.
This is, I said, as discussed before, I started off in metal.
Yes.
I mean, my first pieces were very, I guess conceptual, they're all on fire. But again, but I knew that was something I didn't want to do just yet. And that's why I first came to Barney's class, to learn about the figure. Okay. And then this is my first attempt at bringing it to metal. And I was going through a lot of things at the time, and I can't explain everything that I went through, but this is what came out. Mm-hmm. Just this hand reaching out of a grate. I mean, I call that obstacle to the sun.
Oh, I think I've been warned that we have 2 minutes left, so let's go. Let's see if we can
that's
get into
that's the explanation. That's kind of like the further along the hand reaching out process. Again, just kind of getting out that entrapment.
And
that's it.
That was also a metal piece, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I think do we have another?
Yeah, it's a series that I've been working on of Asian women, primarily Japanese. They're all quite large. Mm-hmm. This is about 3 feet high. Wow. And Damien helped me set it up in a wonderful way. And most of them have been my students, and people that I've met, right. And kind of concerned about the fact that with all our advances, the technology that we have, we don't seem to be very good at looking at other people. And that business of being able to see what's inside, well, I think when you start looking at different groups of people, you may wonder if there are different things inside them, make them do what they do. And then I think the only thing you can do is to go down to the core, which is the individual. Right. Start there, look at people, try to understand why they do the things that they do, why they are who they are, and use that as a basis to find out what it is you need to know about the world. I mean, the feeling I get from listening to you and Damien talk is that people from very diverse backgrounds, he has that technical skill, which is considerable background, still in awe.